Thought.
One to going live. Press the go live button.
Press the go live button.
We are live.
Because we pressed the button.
It's amazing what happens when you press the go live button. You actually go live.
I know, right?
Oh, dear. So we're actually at, and we think, hang on, create a room by, okay, no, that's okay. We'll skip that part. Thank you very much, Instagram. Thank you. I don't know how to get past all that. Okay, yeah, beautiful. Anyway, hopefully we're live on Instagram as well right now.
Next.
I'll hit the next button. See, that's how you
go. You go next by hitting the next button, similar to the live button. Oh, stop!
Sensational. There we go.
Yes.
All right. So,
what would a Thursday live be without a shit show?
Oh, I know.
Start, right?
Very much so. So here we are, live in the studio, a bit croaky, not due to anything else other than lack of
warmth in Perth, I think.
Yeah, that's certainly been. Yeah. All right. So today, live here, we've actually managed to go live on Instagram. So if you see us looking slightly over here, that's because this is where the people on Instagram are joining us. We've solved that technological problem, and now we just couldn't work out how to go live or how to go next.
Can you please tell the amazing people how we solved that weeks-long technological problem with Instagram? Please.
Yes, sure.
Please.
So for some reason, wasn't able to stream live on Instagram, wasn't able to even do Instagram Reels or Stories for a period of time. And thanks to Instagram, all I had to do was turn my phone off and on again.
Yeah.
Yes, the
number
one piece of technical advice that anyone could ever give you is the ability to turn your phone on and off again.
100%.
Morning, Joe.
Joe, hey, how are you? So great to see you.
Yes. So thanks for tuning in, Joe. And for those of you who are tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, this morning show, Lisa and I promised we're going to try not to cry in today's show because it's a tough one, and it is. If you've seen any of the content we've been putting out this week, it's all about learning to prioritize yourself first. A lot of the clients that we have the privilege to serve in the world. Morning, Ash. And Ash promised me that she's trying to do a much better job of this about prioritizing herself first too, because she is
sister.
She is a property management machine and doing amazing work in the world. And so make sure you take care of yourself, Ash, please. The world needs you, so this could be really important.
Because we like to live in houses.
Yeah,
houses are a fun thing to live in.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So with the whole concept this week, prioritizing your life and everything like that, the clients say that we have the privilege of serving, a lot of them have all the wonderful accoutrements of life, all the toys, the gadgets, the beautiful homes, families and everything like that. But because they're so driven to build the business to provide for all that they never, really make the time for it. And then over a period of time, like it's okay, like over a short period of time, like you'll have bursts where you may need to, go all in on the business or all in on certain areas of your life. And that's fine, which is why I don't believe in balance of life. I'm more about a rhythm or harmony to life for me. But is that you can have all that stuff and you're building your business so you can provide a better lifestyle, better life, have all those wonderful things. But then you don't make time to be able to use them or spend time with the people that are there. So all the reasons that you're doing it, you're actually shooting in the face because you're working on a pretty much what might be called a I'll be happy when strategy. And to me, I'll be happy when is a negative strategy. Okay, so when you're setting a strategy for your own self and your own life about, hey, I've got to do all the stuff, and when that's all done, then I'll be able to enjoy the toys. That's when I'll be able to spend more time with my kids. That's when I'll be able to spend more time with my partner or whatever it is. That's a negative goal-setting strategy. And with all that whole process, as well as you go through that, you're actually starting to sacrifice yourself and a lot of things in terms of your own happiness, the joy you get from those relationships with the people most important to you. You're also sacrificing, in my case, significantly in the past, my own health and well-being. But we're doing all that for the greater good. We're doing all that for the greater good of building my business. I have to build the business. And if I don't build the business, then we won't be able to afford to rent the property off of Ash. We won't be able to do whatever it is we need to do. We won't be able to
buy the coffee.
Yeah, buy the coffee. Won't be able to have provide for the nice things for my family and all this sort of stuff. And my family, that's what they want and need. When we know, and I know as growing up as a kid, that all I ever wanted was time with my mom and dad, or specifically my dad. And my dad was, his work ethic was exceptional. Like he was an amazing worker and a great leader and a great business person. But I remember growing up as a young child that we would sit there and go, kind of the laugh and joke in our house. Mom said, "But wait till your father gets home." And we sort of, my brother Steve and I, because brother Jason was a little bit younger than I, said about 6 years younger than me, but Steve and I were very close in age. We used to kind of just laugh a little bit and go, "Yeah, well, by the time he gets home, we'll be in bed, and by the time we wake up, he'll already be gone." So and that's no disrespect to my dad. He was doing what he needed to do to provide for the family, and always admire him for that. But the interesting part is most of us boys, 3 of us, turned out to be reasonably good dads. So
you are a great dad.
Thank you. Well, Father of the Year, 13 years in a row or something. I think since my kids are 31, 26, and 23, I'm halfway there.
I said you're a great dad, not a humble dad.
Yeah. But I tell you, there were times when I wasn't what I would consider being a great dad. I caught myself falling into that trap as well. And as I put in my post in the newsletter this week, hence the Elvis theme this week. Oops. It's another big fail. Let's try that again. Bleed. Due to the Elvis theme this week.
I love
I'm caught in a trap.
You guys get to witness live the Z roll that we're going to put together one day of all of just.
Yeah, that's well beyond B-roll. Yeah, but like it was caught in a vicious trap. I was sitting there. I would get up really early, get to work, do the things I had to do, stay as late as I could to get as much done as I could to come home, and then maybe have something to eat and pass out on the couch.
Yep.
And that was back when I was a much younger lad and had more energy. But in the last 5 years, so I want to share something very personal. In the last 5 years, and I know you have a similar situation for yourself, Lisa. And Joe's really put a great point up there about, prioritizing yourself is a huge part of leadership. And this is something that took me a long time to learn. And this is why I'm really empathetic when we see, business owners and leaders who are have all the stuff and everything like that, but they're busting their butts at the work. And there's a smarter way to do work. There's a different way to do work where you can actually, as part of one of my posts, I said, if you become more, you can do less and double your results. Now, I know that sounds a lot challenging because I know we have some clients right now who are short on team members right now. They're struggling to find people to do the role. So they're covering 3 or 4 different roles in their business at the moment. And I get that. And I totally empathize with those of you who are out there who are doing that. We met a couple of clients yesterday who are on the tools, as we call it. They've had to be on the tools for now. But being on the tools okay for a period of time. It's making sure you don't get stuck on the tools and stay on the tools.
Doing what you've got to do when you got to dig in.
Yeah.
But then also.
But it's when it becomes a pattern or it becomes a part of your life that you're actually always on the tools. Or you're using that as an excuse to stay at work.
Yeah.
And so for me, about 5 years ago, just at the inception or the beginning of Circle Leadership as an organization, I've been doing this stuff for 25 years or so or more, probably longer than that. But in this iteration or this evolution as Circle Leadership came as a result of me almost killing myself and losing everything that I had. And so whilst across the screen here is Lose Yourself, which is a great song by Eminem, we're saying don't lose yourself. All right. And so I was losing myself. I just finished writing my book, Simplified, which was awesome. I was very excited about that. So here I am. I'm going to become a world famous speaker and author and travel the world. And, I went all in on that. And then just had to work longer and harder to try and get that off the ground and go to meetings and see people and do everything that I could. And then I'd get up in the morning and I'd go, you know what, I don't have time to work out right now. I've really got to get this done. I've really got to get this set up. So I'd sacrifice my workout all of a sudden. And then I'd be on the road all day. And then I started eating poorly. And then when I get home, I'd be so tired I wouldn't have any time or energy. Maybe have time, but I'd have no energy to spend with my wife. The kids had already moved out at that stage, so I was an empty nester. But then the pattern, it just kept accelerating. Like I'd work longer and harder and harder and longer and longer. And I just became more tired, less working on me. Didn't even have time to do any mental work on me. The odd audio book in the car. And then everything started sliding. And then there was a keynote that I did over in Queensland in Sanctuary Cove. And that's when I saw it up on the big screen. And there's a picture I put up in our post this week there's a picture of me just standing there. Wonderful, like photography, like it was a great picture. And ever since I saw it, I hated that photo. But now I love that photo because it's really a strong, powerful, constant reminder for me. But there was that photo, this like massive, you imagine like this massive wall in a thing. And there's this photo of me and I look like Elvis just before he died. Like I would look swollen, and I looked at that, and on the scales I was well over 100 kilos. Now my fighting weight when I used to do martial arts was 79 kilos, and I was like 100 and something, probably 105 kilos at that stage. So I was significantly unhealthily overweight. I was tired. I was lethargic. My wife and our relationship was being challenged, and no fault of hers, just me. And because I wasn't there for her, and I wasn't providing her the security that she desired. I wasn't secure, and that wasn't because not from financial security, but I was losing security in who I was as a person. And that's where the thing is, like I was losing myself. Like talk about lose yourself. I was actually losing myself of who I was as a person. So it was really at that stage then when I realized that, and it was a good friend of mine, Dale Nelson. He's a PT at the time. And he said to me, Dave, I'd like to train you. And I said, man, I don't have the money or the time to do training. He goes, I'm not going to charge you. I just want to train you. Like Dale was my guardian angel who flew in at that time.
Where's Dale? I need to go and see Dale.
So Dale, if you're watching this, mate, sincere, nothing but love, brother. You saved me. And he said, no, I want to train you. I'm working on a new program and I need somebody and I want you to come in and I want to. And so I said, okay. And so I'll make time for it. It was like three sessions a week. And then I started, so doing that. And all Dale helped me work on actually was, and I've explained this when I talk about the process for human behavior. He was working on how I think about health and nutrition and well-being and all that while we were lifting weights. So he was working this muscle to make these muscles sustainable.
And the amazing thing about that is that as you're moving, this is my jam. So now we're on talking about PT and exercise and all the things. And I just want to shout out to Dale. Thank you for being a professional of integrity, my brother. We need more fitness professionals like you out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that because as you're working on your mindset, as you're getting that kind of awesome input, because we talk about inputs, you really forming the base of how we think is how we act, right?
Yeah.
As the inputs, as Dale's chatting to Dave about the inputs, and he's moving that through his body at the same time, it not just goes in here, but it gets circulated through your whole body, which is why I really love the notion of, if you're on a treadmill or if you're doing some kind of exercise and you've got something good going in here at the same time as you're moving it through your body, it means that you can embody it, you can immerse yourself in it, and it's a full body experience. It's a full body knowingness, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and well, say, but with that, then it got me back and excited again about putting other inputs in terms of healthy inputs into my mind. In terms of, then I started reading more, and I used to be a reader all the time, but I let that slide. I used to at least stay reasonably fit, but I let that slide. I used to, spend more time with it, and I let that slide because it was all for the sake of, putting the business first. Because without the business, we don't have a house, we don't have food, we don't have this, we don't have that.
I have a question, Dave. Yeah. So when you suddenly saw yourself on stage and you were feeling and looking like Elvis just before he died, did that happen overnight?
Like getting to that size?
Yeah.
Oh God, no. It was kind of like when you boil a frog, like
I was just going to say, picked it right out of the field. Yep.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it was there.
Yeah.
And it was like, the man in the mirror. So because I never saw myself on the outside. And then when I look back up, like, who the heck is that?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking up at the screen going like, who is that?
Yeah.
Like I don't even recognize that guy.
Yeah.
That's not who I see inside here. And so when your mind's function is to keep you sane, and we've talked about this before, and we're going to talk about, actually, this is really cool because we're going to talk about this a lot more in next week's live as well, is your mind's function to keep you sane. So it takes the dominant picture you hold of yourself, and then the picture you see outside, if that doesn't match, it'll give you all the energy to match. So when I looked at that, that's not how I saw myself, but that's how I was. So it gave me all the energy that I needed to make the pictures match again. And thankfully with the inputs constantly from Dale helping with that. And then I started doing a lot of reading on, I used to do like a lot of business books and leadership and all that, but nothing on really myself as a person and a human being. And I read some really amazing books that then helped me to really get back in tune with, let's say, like affirmations and mantras and themes. And then when I started working on me, this was the amazing part. So then I started working on myself. And I remember having a chat with my wife about this, and said, years ago we had a bit of a blow up, and I'm very happy to share this. It's we don't have the strong relationship we have today if it wasn't for these moments. Is that I was afraid to lose her, and so I went inward. And then this, about 4 or 5 years ago when all this was happening. And then I realized I needed to do something and start working on myself. I said before, when I was afraid to lose you, now I'm more afraid of losing myself. I'm still afraid to lose her, but I'm more afraid of losing myself if I don't do something now. And like so if you're like, I'm fortunately very in tune with the body because I have a heart condition. So for me, I could tell that was also like my heart was always playing up all the time and things like that. And I knew the rate that it was going, that I was months away from being in hospital. And like that's from like for Dale, obviously, as a professional that he is, he could see that and save me from what could have been. And imagine if I had to go in a hospital, unwell, unhealthy, and I was the only one who was bringing in the money in the house and things like that. And all these things that I thought, I had to work for would have imploded. And the whole part of what we've been talking about this week also is then that whole system that was reliant on me would have imploded too. So this is where it comes from. You can't pour from an empty jug. And my jug was running on empty. And so when I started to do that and I started things, and then, so then I started journaling more. One of the things like I highly recommend to people, I've actually every year, Lisa and I, we set a theme. So I set a theme for myself every year. And so I've got a theme set. And then I talk about what does that theme look like. And
What's
then
your theme?
This year is about being prolific. So actually, when I started, the very first theme was being steadfast. So getting there and steadfast, so staying true to what I was working on. So I was very steadfast. And then I looked at all the things in terms of what the business was doing. And I said, okay, well, I need to then consolidate some stuff. So I went from steadfast in 2018 to consolidated to from there to discipline last year. And then this year is about being prolific. So every year I've set a theme for myself. Then I've taken that theme and looked at all my areas of life and said, well, what did steadfast look like in that area? What does this look like in that area? And so every year I start with a new journal and I write what the theme is and what it looks like. And then I look at in terms of like for my own spirituality, what does that look like? My energy, my awareness. And then I write then up my goals that I have. So I have my goals that I write out. And then I write on the back of that is my affirmations that I want to be doing every day. And then every day I write a daily mantra. And I have a one-page daily mantra that talks about who I am in my life and what I want to accomplish, the people we want to serve, and everything like that, all in one page. And that is part of my morning routine now.
Can we please also talk about your morning routine and what this get up is this morning?
Oh, yeah. So I
feel overdressed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've just finished half of my workout from doing this. So and then as soon as this live stream's over, I got to go and finish the other half of my workout. So yeah, so every morning now, as best as I can, I do at least a light workout, what I call, and I've set myself like just some simple health goals because I don't lift heavy weights anymore. I find now at my age of life that light weights, but high repetition and stuff like just maintaining strength. I don't need to build muscle mass like that, but I want to just maintain my strength. So I do a lot of light weights over an extended period of time and cardio and just a good balance. And then I manage my calories throughout the day.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I'm not a big drinker. I never have been. I've been an idiot without alcohol. I've never needed to influence that. But so for me, so Ashley's got a good question here. How long?
Oh, I'd love to talk
Yeah.
about this.
So for me to do my reading my I read through all that every morning. Read through my goals. Read my affirmations, and then I do the writing of the daily. I write my daily mantra every day. So I don't write my goals every day. I don't write my stuff. So that's already written, and I read through that, and I just visualize and take a moment to picture that in my mind. But then I handwrite the mantra. So that takes me about 20 minutes in the morning, and that leaves me another 40 minutes on to do the workout. So about an hour every day.
So I have a question.
Yep.
When you handwrite, is there a reason why you handwrite versus just reading that, or versus typing that, and why?
Yeah, 100%. So for me, I'm a firm believer that writing crystallizes thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's such a tremendous power in the mind-body connection. Because I do the reading of the first parts, because then it's just a chance to visualize and all that sort of stuff. And then all those things add up actually to the total daily mantra. So if those things are all the bigger picture things, well, my daily mantra then is I want to make sure that I'm creating my mindset every day as the right mindset as to why I do what I do, who I am as a person, what I'm seeking to become, all that sort of stuff. And then as I'm writing that out, it's my whole mind and body are connected as I'm having to transcribe that every day. And so for me, you can put it up things, and I also actually have it recorded. So if I want to, I've actually come into the studio here and I've recorded. So on my phone, I can actually just go and play it on my phone and hear myself in the car while I'm driving. So on the days that, if for whatever reason, because sometimes I'm traveling and things like that, and because of scheduling, I have an audio there that I can actually still at least listen to it every day.
Yeah.
And it's in my voice.
Yeah.
Right. So ideally, I like to write it every day, but the still has as a backup, as my backup, I have it recorded.
Amazing.
And once again, I recorded it several times over, because I wanted to make sure I got the feeling and emotion right in the daily mantra as I hear it when I'm writing it.
I think this is a training and a thing that we get to do as a separate. This is so big and so juicy. I think this is a bonus that we're going to get to do at some stage about the whole art and science of why and emotions and getting really emotive about things like that. So that's a really great question, Joe and Ashley. Thank you so much for that. I'm looking at this also going, I wonder if we throw to our Wheel of Life.
Yeah, so I want to explain that. So and so one of the things also that I did at the time, way back in the day, was actually then went to the old school, the Wheel of Life. Like, I mean, literally, again, this is when I looked at all the areas of my life. So when I look at my theme, I go, what does that look like in each of these areas? All right. So for, that.
You ready?
Yeah. Let's just bring that up on the screen now. Yeah. So I'll grab hold of this if you want to, because I want to scroll a little bit here. So the Wheel of Life, and this is a PDF that's available for all of you that if you want it, you're more than welcome to have a copy of it. Just take that off. So here it is. And many of you may have seen the Wheel of Life, that may be very familiar with this. That's cool. I just want to explain to you how I used it. So you look at all the different areas of life, and there's different versions of this out there. So if you look at this was just one that I found that I said, okay, so when I look, what does steadfast look like and all those things? What does, consolidated look like? What does last year's discipline look like? What does prolific look like in all those areas of life? Right. So once I've set my theme, I go, what does that look like? And I go rate myself as to where I am in those things. Okay, now here's the cool part. So first one is, if you take this Wheel of Life, you just rate yourself where you think you are in physical environment, business, career, whatever it is. And then you can prioritize the areas in which you want to work on, because, and please also understand, the lowest score doesn't mean that's the highest priority. Okay,
that's key.
So one of the things I remind people when they're doing the Wheel of Life is, it doesn't necessarily, just because that's your lowest score, doesn't mean it has to be your highest priority.
Like romance for me right now.
Yeah, like it might right now in your life, whilst it might be, you might be like a 5, whatever it is, but that doesn't mean, it may not be important to you right now to have romance in your life or whatever that, or a romantic relationship or anything like that. So just because it's a lower, what's true is just because it's a lower score doesn't mean it's important right now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so when you look at those things, please understand that. So pick one of the things and start to develop whatever area of life it is. Just start developing a simple tactical plan about it in terms of what's the first thing, what are the first few things that you could do to work on in that area of life. Ash is just sharing here that the consistency of routine is big, and I think for me, and I'm not very disciplined, so I need to practice that. So maybe your theme for this year could become discipline, Ash. The one thing that you need most is discipline. Then go, what would discipline look like in this and this and this and this and this, and pick one of those areas and start demonstrating discipline in that one area. Like, all you need to do is get started in one area and with one thing.
Yeah.
And this is like one thing at a time. So, no different to us, this is where the whole concept of evolution came from. As I was, not like evolution always existed, but our definition of evolution, which is the steady, progressive increasing of our capabilities and our capacity for greatness, came from actually this whole thing. This is why evolution became so important to me, right? It's the steady, progressive increasing of our capabilities and our capacity for greatness.
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah.
Because then if you're a 10 out of 10 on something, that's just what a 10 out of 10 means for you today.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're there and you're finished and now there's no more room for growth in that. It's relative to where you are now. So it's kind of like the man on the top of the mountain. You don't just get there and go, sweet, I'm here. We continue. And that evolutionary piece, that capacity for us is infinite, right? So
and we talk about, that people say, I'll see at the top of the mountain. My philosophy is to kind of laugh at that, saying, I don't know what mountain you're climbing, buddy, but I'm building my mountain as I go. And to Lisa's point, so when you do your Wheel of Life and you say you get your little circle around there that's shows, okay, I'm a 7 here, a 6 there, an 8 there, all that. And as you work on yourself and evolve, well, you may never even get to a 10.
No.
Right? Because this year's 10 could be next year's 8.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Okay, so please understand that as you evolve. But the important part when you do the very first time when you do this exercise and you map all that out, here's the cool part. Here's the kicker, which most people don't think about. Firstly, other than the fact that your lowest scoring area doesn't mean it's a priority, is this part I wrote down the bottom here. The mere fact of or act of rating yourself in each area clearly indicates that you must now know what a 10 would be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how did you score yourself?
Yeah.
Now you know what success in each area of life looks like based on what you can see today, right? Once your mind can see it, it will help you to achieve it. Yeah. And so please understand, as you're going through this, and you go, I'm a 5. And I did this with a client in Canada, and he said, I'm a 5 in this area. I said, that's awesome. He goes, why is that awesome? Because now you know what a 10 looks like. So talk to me about 10. I really didn't care about his 5. I said, tell me, what does a 10 look like? And he goes, oh, crap, yeah. I'm like, oh, well, a 10 would be da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Because sometimes it's easy to say, I know what I don't want in life, but what I do want. Yes. As soon as your mind goes, I'm a 5 compared to what?
Yep.
Okay, so this exercise, whilst it seems so simple and so fundamental, can help you to really understand what does success look like for you. So then when you sit there and go, well, that's what success would look like, you go, okay, well, what behaviors would drive the results would culminate in that success? And this is why then you go, okay, so what do I need to start doing in that area that will get me those results and help me get that success? But please understand, then as you evolve to become more, then as you sit and do this exercise with your new theme next year, you're going to go, holy crap, this year's 8 is, like last year's 10 or whatever. And so I've still got now who am I capable of becoming? What else can I accomplish in my life?
And that gets to become really exciting. And to Ashley's point before, she talked about the consistency of routine is something that you're not very good at and that you need to practice. But the thing is, what an amazing opportunity for growth that you now get to be excited about. If you mark yourself a 5, you don't have to sit there and give yourself an uppercut because you're a 5. Get excited because now we know what a 10 is, like Dave was saying, and we can call ourselves forward and expand and evolve into that. Because, did we ever get to a 10 because we sat at 5 and belted ourselves up? Did we ever grow a garden of flowers by watering the weeds and giving all of that the attention, right?
God, no.
So this is juicy. I love this stuff. Can I get up on the chair?
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't be unnatural, though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. And the other thing with this, and I know this to be true, I don't know about you guys, I've seen the Wheel of Life for many, 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 many years. And yeah, it seems primary and it seems basic. But what an amazing netball coach, and Sue White, if you're ever tuning in and you see this, thank you so much, love and appreciation for you. We put together a senior netball team a couple of years ago, and we'd all been playing netball for 20, 25 years. And she had us throwing and catching the ball for 6-8 weeks before we did anything. We were like, Sue, man, this isn't net, set, go. We're not netter. How do we get to move forward? She goes, if we don't move away from the basics, we won't have to keep going back to them. Yeah. So let's do this here. Let's really nail this. And I feel like the same can be true for things like the Wheel of Life. This basic fundamental stuff, and I read this in Simplified the other day. The fundamentals aren't necessarily fun. They're just dementals. And if you don't do dementals, you go a bit mental. Exhibit A. Right? So, yeah, I'm
glad you said that because I was going to bring that up.
I'm a little bit juiced about this. Yeah. We've got a whole heap of stuff going on in this field here. We're just picking thoughts out of each other's brain. That's a little bit scary. I don't know if I want you to see what's on the inside.
No,
of this.
I don't want to see either.
No.
Yeah. So, can I just want to wrap up with the fact that just simplifying this whole exercise out. So, one, I really looked at my life and said, okay, what if I was going to evolve, what would be the one thing that would have the most impact on my life? So Ash, when you were talking so it could be discipline for you. I know one of our other clients, he's picked discipline this year and he's looking at discipline in all areas of his life. Whatever your theme is, pick your theme. Then, and then look at, and then get that really defined. So I have this year for prolific, what prolific looks like. And if you may notice that we've had a lot more content coming out on social media and we're doing so much more at Circle Leadership, which is part of that whole thing. That's where this has come from, we need to be at a higher level in terms of the work that we're doing, well, me specifically, right? And so set that theme. Okay, yeah. Well, that's my theme. You have your own theme, right? For me, that's what it meant. And so that impacts all areas of my life. be more prolific as a father, more prolific, and so I spend as much time as I can with my kids. And I've got one in Canada and one in Geraldton, one here in Perth, and so I do whatever I can to be more in tune with them and chat to them every week. Looked at every area of my life, spend more time with my wife, and then prolific for the business and everything else that we're doing, and prolific in my own health and well-being, and so I looked at all areas of life. So once you get the theme, look at it all in terms of what would that look like in all areas of life. Rate yourself where you are. Then you already know what if I've rated myself a 5 in terms of what prolific looks like in my fun and recreation, well, then I must know what a 10 is. So then I can go, well, that's what a 10 is. So what's the things I could start working on in that area, right? Which was about me getting out and golfing more, for example, because to me, that's one of the things I really enjoy doing. Even though I'm crap at it, but I still enjoy doing it.
It's like singing. I don't sing because I'm good at it. I sing because it's my greatest joy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, and then do that, and then write all that down. And then what would be your goals in that space? And then what are some supporting affirmations, the inputs that you can put in there? Because, and we're going to talk more about this next week, everybody. So the new inputs to drive the new way of thinking, which drives the new way of behaving and new results and new success.
Yes.
And then write it all out in a one-day thing is to describe your life on a one page. And that's pretty much what my daily mantra is. So that's all described on one page.
It's just, and it becomes something that's calling you more into where you want to be, honoring where you are now, calling you forward into the greater capacity in which you are totally, what's the word I'm looking for? Able, achievable, something like that. If these guys want to get a copy of this, Dave, what can they drop in the comments?
They can just put Wheel of Life if you like. We'll make sure you get it. Okay. If you want it, Wheel of Life, please do that. And then we'll make sure that Tiana gets you the link for the Wheel of Life PDF there. And if any of you would like just my simple morning routine documented, just hashtag Dave's routine, right? And then I'll make sure I'll personally send you just a list of what I do every day.
Can I just say it involves black coffee?
Yeah.
Dave's morning
It does not involve instant coffee.
Hi, Sheila, we love you.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
We're gone time as usual. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. For those of you who commented and contributed, and thanks to everyone on Instagram who's also tuned in. Really appreciate having you guys here. Your time and attention is always precious to us. And next week, we're going to be talking about expanding your comfort zones and self-image. So it's going to follow on this whole themes for this month are going to be all around us and to Joe's point earlier, personal leadership. Because we do a lot about business leadership and all that sort of stuff. So we really want to drive home the sense of personal leadership for us as business owners, leaders, etc., which is all wonderful, but it's about the personal leadership now.
This is my jam.
And next week, we'll be whiteboarding a whole bunch of stuff. So get ready for that one. It's going to be epic. And it's going to show you how to take all this stuff we've talked about today and actually put it into play and why we do the things we do the way we do the things. So next week's going to be epic.
Because ideas are great, but
execution is everything.
100% on that. We out, y'all. Don't lose yourself.
Do not lose yourself.
Unless it's in the music.
In the music. In broadcast. That's the way we end the live stream.
Bye.
See ya.